Hello guys, I'm Sashi Kumar and this is day 54. Once again, yeah, this is day 54 of improving my communication skills. And today we are going to read book that is The Art of Explanation by Ross Atkins. This is a book I hope you know. And yeah, every day we do this session at late night, late night, 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. But today I decided to do this earlier so that I can do some other things in the night, and sometimes I miss these sessions just because of some people comes in the room and all the things happens. So I'm going to do this session right now. Just wait. क्या हो गया घर नहीं आया आज क्या भाई नदी बुक रीड कर रहे हैं श्रीराम okay. So we are reading the chapter number 1. In that we are reading 7 topic, that is no distraction. We have already read it half of that, and we are I was reading in the daytime, so we are going to continue that. I must still I must still strict on the okay. In my experience, we take a chance if we hope the people receiving our explanation are good at handling two competing sources of information. This is not to just this is not to pass judgment. Once again. Hmm. This is not to pass judgment. It's something we all find hard. We can move quickly between a number of information sources, but we can struggle to process them simultaneously. Simultaneously. When I am on TV in my हाँ हाँ once हाँ
अबे लाइट में तुम रख ये चार्ज वार्ज करके रखो भाई।
अरे चार्जर नहीं था।
चार्जर नहीं
पता
मेरे
नहीं
पास
दारू
है
कहाँ
मेरे
है?
नाम से
हाँ?
मेरे पास है उसका
अरे ले ले
बी टाइप
अरे वो है, हम इसमें लगाना नहीं चाह रहे, हम सोच रहे हैं एक वो ले ले
अडेप्टर।
अडेप्टर। हाँ
मेरे पास एक अलग से अडेप्टर है।
हम वही लेने जाए, कल ले लेंगे, अभी रखे रहना, ले लेंगे।
sorry guys. When I am on when I am on TV in my earpiece, I can hear both the programmer as well as the director and the editor in the gallery. It took a long while to get used to that. It remains hard, and as my colleagues will tell you, I still miss things. No, that is how it needs to be in a TV representer's eyes ear. But when we are doing explanation on TV or anywhere else, we don't need to offer multiple competing information source. Or to put this more strongly, that is the last things we should be doing when we are trying to communicate clearly. Not for the first time. We had be we had be undermining our own endeavors. I'm hoping as you read this, you are starting to think of times you have seen this done. How often have you been listening to the presentation at work or at a conference or watching a YouTube video, and slides are coming up with lots and lots of information on them? At best, they show you that the speaker is going to the say next. At worst, these are images or graphics that don't get connected to anything that is being said. Either way, quite understandably, or mind understandably, or our mind wanders on to them. What is that? We think, and in that moment, we stop listening properly. I came across this. I want to speak with diaphragm. Thank you, Prajwal Maheshwari. Uh, I came across this recently when interviewing someone for a job. They were a great candidate and full of ideas. The only problem was that they had put a lot of their ideas on a single slide of their presentation. The moment it flashed up, there was a huge amount of information on the screen and a lot of it looked interesting. I had to work to stop myself from reading it all. Actually, I'm preparing for GATE exam, but for being disciplined, I am reading this kind of book every day to improve my communication skill as well. In the next year, we have a placement, so that's why I'm preparing for our communication skill and all those things. And one thing we are doing just uh, we are practicing some topics so that we can well prepare for GD in future. Because GD is everywhere for interview and for anything where you want to place for internship and for placement, then you have to face GD. So that's why I have taken 30 topics from civil engineering background so that I can well prepare from our background as well as the GD. So that's the things I am actually my main purpose to prepare for GATE exam. And okay, Prajwal, I hope I clear all the doubts. One another on another occasion, I once sent a 60 slide PowerPoint presentation in advance of me appearing at a conference. You only have 10 minutes, was the gist of the reply. 10 minutes was going to be fine. I didn't have a particular large amount of information. I had just put, put each piece of supporting visual information on its own. It was there when I needed it and not distracting the audience when I didn't. Visual supports can be a messy plus in great explanation, but if you are creating visual distraction, you will be having the opposite of the desired effect. Haunting, don't distraction in all their forms is essential to giving your explanation the best chance to communicate what you want to say. Ask yourself, are, are there verbal, written, or visual distraction? Good explanation minimize distraction, maximize context, and give you the most important information with precision, simplicity, efficiency, and as I try to achieve that, three more guiding principle can help me. The first is the obvious as it is important. If someone's not listening to you, you are not going to be communicating with them. So, our next points is engaging. How to make the conversation engaging. In 2002, the BBC moved me to a Fab Lab show Called Up All Night. We are a small band of producer tasked with filling the darkest hour from 1 until 5 in the morning. Not unreasonably, we didn't always receive as much attention from the bosses as some of the other shows, but one of occasion we were asked to attend an audience briefing in the controller office. These rooms were on a different floor to where we work and where the big decisions got made. Back in 2002, I was a junior producer, and so I rarely went to the controller's floor, which is why I can remember so clearly where this briefly happened. Our Miss uncle has come to Miss. We sit down on. Okay. We sat down on the sofas and for an hour, we were given a whole raft of the details on how and why people were listening. All these years on, I don't remember all of that now, but one idea lodged in my mind and it's never left. At the time, the BBC was doing audience research using a system of lab listening. It would bring together a group of people who had listened to a program as it was being broadcast. Each person would have a dial that they had hold. The dial would start on a zero and as they listened, the participant would turn the dial right if they were enjoying the program. Left it left if they were. The further they turned right or left, the more they liked or disliked that moment. After an hour of doing that, the researcher would have a detailed account of how each individual listener and the group as a whole felt about the program. Similar technology is used to produce the warmth that you someone sometimes sees on the screen during leaders TV debates ahead of election. Each candidate has a warmth that rises or falls on the approval scale as the focus group respond to what they are seeing. Now, both in the context of radio audience research and elections programs, there is a broader discussion about how accurately this kind of researchers capture actual behavior and feelings. For me, though the power in that presentation back in 2002 was in what it represented. What we could clearly see in the data was that there were moments of weakness in any given hour of programming. Some of the moments were familiar to broadcasters. The end of the half hours and hours can be switch off moments, just as the top of the hours in a switch on moments. What was revelatory to me as the consistency with which listeners were losing interest at other points. This wasn't just happening between atoms, it was happening in the middle of them, and so started an ongoing preoccupation with trying to understand the reason why that happened and what can be done to avoid an imaginary dial drifting to the left. This researchers was specifically looking at the radio consumption, but the importance of what I call the dial test hold regardless of what you are doing. It is self-evidentially true that if someone is not listening to you, you are not going to explain anything to them. If you look more broadly at the digital world, people move on ruthlessly, and we have the data to show us exactly how. If a video, article, program, or podcast isn't keeping someone's attention for a moment, they are gone and we can measure them. This creates a pressure, but it also ups your game. Where are the moments when I might lose someone? Is there part of what I plan to say that lacks lack of clarities or purpose? What are the reason I am giving someone to keep going with what I have to say? This applies to any form of explanation, whether it's a video, presentation, a speech, briefing note, article, or any number of other explanation. I think in terms of the dial test all the time. It's become a word for trying to maintain a consistent level and to a sport a movement of weakness in the how I'm trying to explain myself. Example. Let's see the example. In 2021, I posted a video about Donald Trump's deal with the Taliban in 2020 and how it connected to the discussion that Joe Biden made around the US withdrawal from Afghanistan. It racked up over a million views on Twitter, but that impact could easily not have happened. After recording one version, my editor on the day, Andrew Brashan, intervened. He kept coming back to the one sections in the middle that he felt was losing US momentum. Along with producer Tom Brada, we went back over it several times, removing, adding, and moving around various elements. Our concern was not the overall length of the video, it was the dial test. Was it too wordy? Was it clear what purpose this section was serving? Was the information essential or simply interesting? Were we giving a reason for a people's attention to drip or even switch off? I was wedded to someone of the detail in this section. Sorry, Andrew. Instead, it didn't keep the viewer, wasn't laid out well enough, and wasn't essential. We watched back my longer version once more. Andrew was right. He had spotted the moment of weakness, and Andrew's version was the one I posted. The information we had discarded wasn't essential, and as the video went viral, there was vindication that Andrew had made sure it passed the dial test. If we fail to look out for those moments, we were talking a huge chance if you lose people in one section, they might not see or hear anything else that you have to say. Even if you are giving a speech and have a captive audience, losing people in one section is still the last thing you want. There is no guarantee their attention will return once.
हाँ भाई
Give me a chair.
चेयर भी उसने भी नाम लिख दिया भाई
अब पे लिखेंगे 106 यार 106
405
Okay, let's finish. Hmm. Where was if you fail to sorry, if you fail to look for these moments, we are talking a huge chance we are taking. If you fail to look for these moments, we are taking a huge chance. If you lose people in one section, they might not see or hear anything else that you have to say. Even if even if you are giving a speech and have a captive audience, losing people in one section is still the last thing you want. There is no guarantee their attention will return once your explanation returns. Of summer student, that can quickly lead to all the kids getting restless. The best explanation connect each section part by part. But if one link in the chain underperforms, that can impact the whole things. Okay, the dial test is a constant reminder that to explain ourselves well, we need to remain acutely aware of whether we are keeping the attention of the peoples we are speaking to. Ask yourself, are there moments when attention could waver? There are any number of techniques that can use to keep someone's attention, and one of the most effective is something any good piece of explanation does. It explicitly expli- one second. It explicitly answers the question that the audience has. So next one is useful. Should I complete? No, guys. So okay. So let's finish that the things here today. So next time I will try to come again and do some GD section. Okay, guys. Was little bit distracted whole day, but now I can feel myself little bit focus, little bit focus. Okay, guys. Thank you, Prajwal Maheshwari, to motivating me to doing the same things, means good things, and making discipline myself. Thank you, guys. Thank you, be here.